I worked the Indy 500 again. I'm going to be honest about this. So I am finally free. I have been working my ass off. Everybody is busy in May. I know that. All right, everybody. I don't care if you're in racing or not. May is just a big damn month. They're even calling it the new December for everybody, right? Not just NASCAR folk. But I have been hustling for, it feels like all year. Since the new year began, I've just been busy. But I'm finally free. I've got a couple weeks to be with my family until we're in Nashville at the end of June. And I am feeling so happy about that. I went to the Derby, and I had a great time. We talked about that. And then I went to Indy this week, and I had a great time. I was really looking forward to Indy. I will say that, you know, the environment and atmosphere that you feel being in Indy at the racetrack is unlike anything else. It is a race, but it doesn't feel like other Indy races. It doesn't feel like any NASCAR race. It's a special event. It's like how, you know, the Derby is unique to horse racing. No other horse race, and even the Preakness or any other race, feels like the Derby. And I mean, when you're there in person, watching it on TV sort of strips away so many layers of the history, tradition, the sheer size of the event. TV numbs a lot of that. It's just the way it is. TV's that's the way it is. No way around it. If you can go to if you can go to the Indy 500, please go. I mean, I'm so thankful that I've gotten to go and do that and experience that once. And so it's just an incredible thing to see and be a part of. I have some really wild access as working with NBC. And I can walk up into any garage I want, talk to any driver I want, which is a great thing. I needed to talk to Ferrucci. I texted him. I said, Santino, need to talk to you for the race. I just want a couple minutes. No problem. Come on up into the garage. I'll be there at 10 o'clock before carb day, practice at 11. I walk in there. He's got his suit on. He's going to practice in 1 hour. And we stood there and talked for 25 minutes. I talked to Larry Foyt, who's runs the team for AJ, and had a great conversation. And so it turns out Santino Ferrucci had some Dale Earnhardt Jr. wallpaper on his bedroom wall when he was a kid.
Wow.
Yeah, didn't know that.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
And boy, did he have a hell of a race, man.
He did. And I know he was sad about not being able to win for AJ. There was, he's hearing that all weekend. Best AJ's team's run in forever. Could you imagine AJ winning the Indy 500? Yeah. And there he was with a perfect opportunity and a couple moves. Go this way or that, he does it. But he's entertaining. Now,
just his hair.
I have not forgotten that, we've bounced off of him and he bounced off of us a few times in the Xfinity Series.
True.
But even while that was going on, I was impressed by his speed and how quickly he adapted to the Xfinity Series, to NASCAR, to the tires, all of that. He is a natural. He's fast. He's good. And I think he'd be competitive in just about any situation. So, I wasn't going to go on a Ferrucci tear, but I like him. He's fun to watch. He's fun to pull for. He pisses them other guys off,
including Connor Daly. Connor doesn't.
I'm sure Connor doesn't like him.
Nope.
Rossi don't like him. There's a lot of people, and you can tell who.
Really?
But the majority I think the majority of the drivers in that garage don't know how to take him, right? Or don't like him or not sure. He's really, I don't know.
He's brash. He's something. I don't know if it's arrogance. They all have stories. They all have a precedent, like we do at Junior Motorsports.
I'll be honest with you, man. I mean, when he was a rookie in 2019, I went to the Indy 500, and they were like, I was reading about him, trying to study, and he had all these issues in other, in the racing that he had done. He'd gotten in trouble. He had wrecked his teammate or something. He's riding around with his cell phone videoing while he's racing, while he's driving the car. Just really brash, immature. And I believe that he is improved a ton from those moments. I believe even from 2019 that he has matured. Now, yeah, he's still young. He's still going to be foolish and immature at times, but I believe that he's not the same little shit that everybody thinks he is from 2019. He's not. I talked to him, and I can see in the way he talks and the way way he engaged with me. I was like, yeah, this guy's maturing. I hope that he ends up in a situation where he can be competitive long term for IndyCar. I think that would be good for IndyCar. He's a great personality. He's entertaining. He's interesting. He does do things on the racetrack that make you scratch your head. You need those guys out there.
Feels a little bit like our Noah Gragson, right?
He's a bit like Noah.
A little bit.
For sure. There's some very, very big similarities there in terms of their path and maturity and so forth. But anyway.
How about the fact that, wasn't it Ferrucci that had the monetary fine handed to him during the race for the tire that went across the pit? Like, how crazy was that? That was crazy.
I didn't think it was that crazy.
You didn't think it was crazy that they? Maybe it's not crazy. Maybe it's what I wish NASCAR would do, is hand out in-race penalties rather than draw it out all week like we were talking about with Chase. That's going to happen. But the fact is that he has that tire go out of the pit box, and they go, yeah, we're not going to make him lose his position here, but we are going to go strap him with a cash fine to be determined later. I thought that was an interesting thing. I hadn't seen it.
It was. I hear you, Mike.
I'm glad they didn't go send him to the back, because
Hinch was like, oh, that's a big penalty going on.
Oh, they were arguing.
I know it.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting, actually.
Well, it's like it's. Yeah, I don't know how much to reveal here, but So
all of it.
I believe that Hinch is in that group with the other drivers that don't approve of a lot of things that he does, right? And so Hinch is just recently out of the seat.
True.
And so Hinch is still like, Ferrucci. I don't know about this guy, right? He passes Rossi on Carb Day coming off pit road on the access lane. Apparently, Hinch is like, that's a ridiculous move. It's ridiculous, and he was very upset about it. And Townsend Bell knows that Hinch is not a big fan of Ferrucci, and so Townsend intentionally praises Ferrucci.
I love it.
even though Townsend probably doesn't love Ferrucci that much, he goes overboard in his praise because he knows it makes Hinch squirm right next to him in the booth. It is hilarious.
That is interesting, because now with that context, they weren't arguing necessarily that I could tell over Ferrucci. They were arguing whether the tire, the wheel, went over the line. It clearly did. Hinch was correct in that. But knowing what you're saying, where Townsend Bell may just take a position just to
be
he's
opposite.
Like, I don't know if it went over, and Hinch is like, what do you mean you don't look at the tape? It went over the line. Well, it's debatable. It's I'm like dying laughing about this. That's so funny.
I really Hinch is really sharp, does a great job. Townsend Bell is knowing Townsend's personality, he is a great listen, man.
Oh, yeah.
He is like, it's like sitting there watching the race with a buddy.
Oh, yes.
It is. And he, he has his moments where he knows he give you some technical stuff, but he also gives you some human emotion about what's happening out there and what the drivers, he can tap into their personalities. And I don't know, he's got a great quality as a broadcaster.
I think that booth is amazing, frankly. The whole booth.
They are a great mix.
Yes.
Whereas, I honestly think Lee's one of the best play-by-play guys. He can set it up. He can make the event feel massive. He has amazing energy. His calls during the race, full of energy. It's perfect.
Perfect. I cannot echo that.
Yeah.
Every lap feels like the last lap, and Lee Diffie doesn't, but yet he doesn't overdo it.
No.
You don't think it's
fake. He's
so good.
He's genuinely that excited about it.
So good.
That's the one thing that Lee does is he has genuine excitement about racing. He grew up around it, and I think that the way he is speaking to you is his true emotion. And so that's why I believe it's so easy to accept, is because it's not this forced thing, right? And so, yeah, they do a great job, man. And I'll be honest, Danica was a blast to work with. I listened to Danica throughout the entire pre-race. I thought she had a lot of she was very concise and well put together in all of her thoughts. And I haven't worked with her. I've only worked with her at Indy. And I really haven't seen much of the stuff she's doing elsewhere. But I'm gonna tell you, man, she was solid.
Yeah.
On next to Mike, and that's a daunting position to be in. Mike's at the top of the mountain.
Mike Tirico.
Mike Tirico is insane.
Insane.
How good he is.
He's so good.
You can put Mike Tirico as the host of anything.
I believe it.
Anything, and he will make that as perfect as it needs to be. And I've seen him work the Olympics, auto racing,
Derby,
football, Derby. I mean, he is a master of all.
He can do it all.
He can.
He is amazing. And I think that the entire NBC product, and I'm not just saying this because you're sitting here and you were part of it. I thought between the booth and the Peacock pit box and the pit reporters, Dylan Welch did fantastic. You and Steve did fantastic. The whole package was amazing. Yeah. It was such a good broadcast.
Yeah. So I agree with all that, man. I had a great time.
Well, I got to ask though, what was the feeling from Danica? Did you guys talk about this when that last caution or last red flag, the decision to red flag the race?
Yeah. Man, I'll be honest. I don't know that I've ever seen any race where they roll off pit road and take the green.
I've never seen it either.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
I might be wrong, but I can't think of one right now. And I feel like for the Indy 500, that wouldn't be something you do.
I agree. They are notorious. They're strictly, we're just all about the race. And we're not going to go, I don't know, manufacture big finishes the way maybe NASCAR's known to manufacture.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that that's what they did, although Marcus Ericsson would disagree. He thinks that was not the right call.
Of course he does. And I think he's got an argument.
I do too.
I feel like that I feel like that it risks the integrity of the event. It risks the integrity of not only that specific Indy 500, but all of Indy, right? And luckily, the end result was a finish with integrity. Luckily, the end result was everybody got back to the finish line in one piece. Luckily, the end result was popular and well received. No problem, right? Then and so everybody in that moment was okay with it. We were on Peacock. We had left NBC and we're on Peacock doing some more work. And I said to Rico and Danica, I said, I thought the finish was a little crude. And Danica and Mike went, no, that's the beauty of sports. What happened, them rolling off pit road and taking the green and the race ending the way it did is what's great about sports. And I honestly feel like I don't feel bad about, I don't feel like my comment was incorrect. I thought it was crude. Comparable to other Indy 500s, it was a bit crude, right? We're coming off pit road, we're going to get the green. I've never seen it before, and so I didn't think my comment was a reach. But Danica and Mike thought it, that was, an incredible ending. Yeah, I enjoyed the ending. I guess I would have said, I would say to IndyCar, I'd be like, well, why don't we just say, we're not going to count cautions or something inside of 10 laps to go. Right, so if you do come off pit road, you can get them guys to go around a couple laps, and when the green comes out, we're going to start counting laps. There's races where dirt races or whatever short track races where cautions aren't counted, so not counting yellows wouldn't be a new idea. But I think in that scenario, they don't have – I do not want to see them do a green-white checkered. I don't want to see them do this. We're going to end under green no matter what. But I think if they – it's kind of the same thing, not counting yellows inside of 5 to go or inside of 10 to go. It's kind of the same thing. But it would allow drivers to accept it better. Ericsson, right? He could say, hey, okay, this is the rule. We're going to go out here. We're going to get we're going to get our tires warmed up, and the green flag's coming out with the white at the same time. But we're not going to pull off pit road and go green. So
it's interesting. I'm with you on this. I'm glad they did it. I thought it was a bit inconsistent, being that I've never seen it done before that way. But
I'm hesitant.
I'm glad they did it. It gave us a moment that we'll never.
I guess I've gave my opinion.
Yeah.
But I was really hesitant to even say anything about it because I'm not an IndyCar guy, but I mean I'm sitting there and that's what it felt like. That's what it felt crude, but still, a popular win. Newgarden did an amazing job.
Yeah.
The leader, man, he's a sitting duck on them restarts. There's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do to keep the lead without just violently blocking or creating some kind of dangerous scenario.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I have after Indy, I've got a couple weeks off, and then we're going to Nashville at the end of June for the start of our broadcasting with NBC. I'm excited about that.
We've got a live show that weekend.
We do have a live show
for the second year in a row. Allies
downtown on Broadway, right?
Yep, at Old Red.
Old Red.
We're going to do it again.